Pablo Escobar is without a doubt one of the most innovative and successful startup founders and entrepreneurs of the last century. Well, he was killed by authorities as a direct result of his business, but in terms of market penetration, reputation, and overall profit, very few entrepreneurs could compare with his success. Take away the drugs, the shootings, the bombings, the wars with police, and the thousands upon thousands of deaths and murders, and what you have left is an uber wealthy visionary whose reputation is respected worldwide. In terms of innovation and net worth, he's right up there with Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and Bill Gates. If you look up his net worth, sources report that it was around $30 billion at its peak. And even though that's worth about $60 billion today, it's still a bit less than these other three entrepreneurs. But they have traceable assets that they don't have to wash, bury underground, or put in someone else's name. So I'm sure that there's a ton of Pablo's net worth that's still unaccounted for. Let's forget that what he did was totally illegal for a second. If you really look at his journey in building his business and developing his brand, there are some lessons in there that the largest startups in the world still utilize today. And these same lessons could help you reach similar success with your startup. Assuming that you're not selling drugs. If that's the case, don't use any of these tips. I'm really not trying to be part of your eventual racketeering case. But in this video, I'm going to explain 5 business principles Pablo used that will explode your business. And we're going to get started right now.
Número 1. Eliminate the competition.
One of the first principles that Pablo lived by is eliminating the competition. In his case, that meant, actually eliminating the competition. Like his competitor would leave home one day and go to work, and then no one would ever hear from them again. Now, I'm not saying that you should actually remove your competition from existence. We're talking principles here, not duplicating Pablo's execution. Pablo Escobar had thousands of competitors throughout his journey, and they weren't his only enemies. His enemies included other cartels, police officers, government officials across many different countries, and even people within his own organization. The Colombian jungle is vast, giving many opportunities to anyone with the resources to set up shop and create a similar quality product. Pablo's personal hitman, John Velasquez, said that he personally eliminated 300 people for the organization and organized the elimination of at least 3,000. His attempts to eliminate enemies include high-profile abductions like Attorney General Carlos Moro Hoyos and the kidnapping of Bogota mayoral candidate Andres Pastrana. There was also a bombing of a plane which led to the death of 107 people. Escobar ordered that bombing because he thought rivals or informants could be on board. I guess you could say that he was pretty ruthless about staying one step ahead of his competitors. If you're going to succeed in your startup, you need to eliminate your competitors too, figuratively, not literally. You have to eliminate them as the top option and eliminate their threat against your startup. And the good news is you don't even need to hire a hitman. Really, there are 2 things that you can do to eliminate or at least significantly reduce the threat of your competitors. You can have a substantial competitive advantage, and you can implement an effective marketing strategy. If you're providing something that is noticeably better, different, or faster than your competitors, then you'll weaken their position. And if you back that up with a great marketing strategy, then you can get your message out there and showcase exactly why your brand is better and get customers into your marketing funnel. There are many marketing techniques that you can choose to get in front of your competitors. And if you want more information about putting a marketing strategy together, I'll link a few videos down below in the description that will definitely get you started. I'm gonna call my boy Pablo in to tell us about number 2.
Número 2. Develop a superior product.
But even though Pablo, eliminated many competitors, it's inevitable that at some point he would face another cartel or another individual offering a similar product. In addition to eliminating competitors, like literally, he also had to make sure that he had a superior product. And compared to everything else that was on the market, his product was definitely the best. He went through extreme lengths to make sure his product was pure, potent, and high quality. Every unit was consistent, and as a buyer, you always knew what to expect when you purchased his product. And because of that, Pablo never had to compete on price. He knew that as long as he offered the best product, his inventory would sell every time. Unfortunately, way too many entrepreneurs think that it's good enough to just duplicate the success of something else that's already working. When Uber came out, a dozen other companies launched doing the exact same thing. And when Airbnb came out, there were another dozen copycats. And of those many new copycat solutions, a very tiny amount of them succeeded. Every brand should be focused on making sure that they have the absolute best product or service on the market. And it can be the best in one of several ways. Maybe it solves a problem the best. Maybe it's the best price. Maybe you're offering the best customer service. But if you're going to succeed, you have to be better than everybody else in some aspect. All right, Pablo, take us to number 3.
Número 3. Find the right market.
But even if Pablo had 0 competitors and had the best nose dust, without a market to sell it to, it really wouldn't matter. It's critical that you understand which market and audience demand your product the most and the market where your business has the most potential of succeeding in. When Pablo Escobar first started selling booger powder, he was selling grams for $10 each in Colombia, but he knew that he could earn up to hundreds of dollars per gram in Miami. I mean, sure, there were people who loved the product in Colombia, but the market was already saturated. The product he was selling is produced and manufactured in Colombia, so no one really needed to go far to get what they needed. But in the US, the demand was super high and the supply was extremely low. There was no one producing snow within the United States, and nobody had really figured out how to bring large amounts of face flour across the ocean from South America to North America. If Pablo Escobar decided to sell to people in Colombia or even throughout South America, he would have had a fraction of his net worth, and you probably would have never even heard his name. In other words, he had the optimal product market fit, the best product marketed directly to the target audience with the highest demand. For your startup to succeed, you really need to do the exact same thing. Wait, no, I'm not telling you to go sell lo mein on the beach in Miami. What I'm saying is that you need to create the right product for the right market. Statistically speaking, of all the startups that fail, 35% of them do so because there's just no market need. So if you're not offering the right product to the right group of people, then you're probably not going to make it very far. Finding the right product market fit is not extremely hard. In fact, we have a 6-step process for establishing product market fit, and I'll link that up here somewhere so that you can check it out. And that leads us to number 4.
Número 4. Be ready to pivot.
Pablo Escobar never had the chance to read The Lean Startup by Eric Ries, yet he was already aware that sometimes it's necessary to pivot in order to succeed. In business, sometimes your first idea isn't the best one. It's very possible that you find yourself moving very fast down the wrong road, or on the other hand, you might find yourself moving very slowly because you're on the side streets when you should be on the freeway. In other words, sometimes you have to abandon your first idea and pivot into something more profitable or something that better fits what the market wants. Believe it or not, Pablo didn't start off by supplying booger sugar. Early on, he earned money by smuggling contraband like liquor and cigarettes. He earned some money doing this, but not nearly as much as he made after switching to his final business model. In fact, he quickly realized that he could make more on 1 truck of Rogaine than he could with 40 trucks of tobacco. I mean, sure, the penalty of being caught would be way higher, but the greater the risk, the greater the reward. And no, I'm not telling you to risk everything and get into Pablo's line of work. I'm simply just saying that sometimes you have to take another route to get to your destination. And that leads us to tip number 5.
Número 5. Develop a solid network.
It's pretty obvious that Pablo was the head honcho and the most well-known narco, but he wasn't the sole person responsible for his fortune or the success of his business. The thing that really gave him traction was his network. Remember how we talked about how Pablo eliminated his competition? Well, there was another way that he dealt with competition too. He just turned them into partners. The Medellin cartel wasn't really a cartel itself, but more so a board of drug lords with Pablo in the head chairman seat. Even the Cali cartel, which was one of his biggest competitors and a proclaimed enemy, eventually became one of his customers. He would charge them to use his trade routes, and he also imposed a tax on them for everything that they sold. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that you should partner with your competitors. In my opinion, the goal is really to crush them. But if you want to speed up your startup success, you should find the individuals, the organizations, and the brands that can put you in front of more consumers quickly. For example, let's say that you sell fish food. You could try to attract everybody that has a fish tank one by one, which might drive revenue, but you'll pay for every single customer acquisition, and it'll take forever to generate a solid customer base. Alternatively, you could partner with an established aquarium filter brand and offer a sample pack of fish food bundled with that product. And that will significantly increase your reach and put you in front of an established audience immediately. For the filter company, bundling a package of sample fish food increases the value of the filters. So this agreement will be beneficial for both parties. And that's really the key to partnerships. It has to be beneficial for everyone. For Pablo, the partnerships brought him billions of dollars. And for his partners, it gave them an infinite product supply, a proven route for getting the product out of the country, and protection from government authorities. And best of all, they could go to sleep without worrying about Pablo's hitmen kidnapping them in the middle of the night, torturing them, and leaving their remains in the bottom of the river. See, it's a win-win for everybody. The truth is, you could learn a ton from Pablo Escobar's story, because many of the principles that built his business are the same principles that the most prominent startups in Silicon Valley use to become unicorns. Here's a bonus tip. Pablo Escobar started from zero, and he didn't let that stop him. And you shouldn't either. It may seem like an impossible endeavor to start with $0 and become a startup success, but it's totally possible if you know what you're doing. And if you don't quite know what you're doing, don't worry. We have a video right here that will tell you every step you need to take to start a business from scratch. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if so, hit the subscribe button, tap the thumbs up, and ring the bell so you don't miss any of our updates. We drop new videos every week to help you launch and grow your startup, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next one. Until then, take care and keep creating amazing shit.